Historically, the media arose in Western Europe in the 18th century as an organ of the people against feudal oppression. At that time, all the organs of power in Western Europe were in the hands of the feudal authorities, the kings, the aristocrats, etc. And therefore, the people, in their struggle against feudalism, had to create new organs which could represent their interests. And one of the most powerful organs which the people created was the media. Of course, it was the print media at that time. Great writers like Voltaire, Rousseau, Thomas Paine, etc. fought against feudalism and represented the rising aspirations of the people. Voltaire wrote against religious bigotry. Rousseau wrote against the entire feudal system. Thomas Paine proclaimed the rights of man, etc. The media was thus representing the voice of the future, in contrast to the established organs of power which were in the hands of the feudal authorities, which wanted to maintain and retain the status quo. So the media at that time was of great help in the transition of European society from feudalism to a modern industrial society. The Indian media should also be playing the same role, because India is presently passing through a transition period in its history. The transition from feudal society to a modern industrial society. This is a very painful and agonizing period in history, this transition period, and which I think will continue for another 15-20 years. The next 15-20 years in India are going to be terrible, because what does transition mean? Transition means the old society is being torn apart, totally uprooted. Old values are being destroyed, the feudal values, and a new society is being put in its place. New values are being created. At present, we are neither feudal nor modern, we are somewhere in between. If you have read the history of Europe, from the Western Europe, from say 17th to 19th centuries, you will find it was full of turmoil, turbulence, wars, revolutions, social churning, chaos, intellectual ferment, theories of Voltaire, Rousseau, the French encyclopedists, etc. It was only after going through that fire that modern society emerged in Europe. India is presently going through this fire. We are going through a very painful period in our history, which, as I said, in my opinion, would last another 15-20 years. This terrible turbulence, because this is how history operates. One wishes that this transition would come about without any pain, without any violence, without any turbulence, but history does not operate in that manner, because the vested interest in the old order, the feudal order, will not give up their rights without a fair struggle. So terrible times are coming in this country. In this transition period, the role of ideas become very important, and therefore the role of the media becomes very important, because the media is not an ordinary business which deals with commodities. It deals with ideas. And therefore, it is the duty of the Indian media to help Indian society get over this transition period faster, with less pain. There is going to be some pain, and it can't be achieved immediately, but we can reduce the pain. We can reduce the time period. For this, the media must propagate rational and scientific ideas and combat backward and feudal ideas of casteism, communalism, superstitions, which are still rampant in our society today. Everybody knows that 90% people in our country vote like sheep and cattle, in caste and on the basis of caste and religion. You don't see the merit of the candidate, whether he's a good man or bad man, whether he's educated or not educated. You just like sheep and cattle, you go in 90%, not all of you. And that's why you have so many criminals in your legislatures, because you don't see whether he's a good man or bad man. He must be a Reddy, he must be a Kamma, that's all. He may be a criminal, anything immaterial. Karnataka, he must be a Vokaligga or Lingayat. UP, he must be a Yadav, Kurmi. 1 lakh Yadav vote, 1 lakh Kurmi vote, 1 lakh Harijan vote, 1 lakh Muslim vote. Like sheep and cattle, 90% people go and vote. It just shows how backward we still are. This is a very backward society. And it's not just the uneducated. I can forgive the uneducated. It's the educated people who are utterly casteist. I was a lawyer in Allahabad High Court for 20 years before I became a High Court judge. And what did I see? In the Allahabad High Court Bar Association elections for electing president, vice president, secretary, 90% of lawyers voted on caste basis. The Brahmins voting for the Brahmin candidate, the Yadav voting for Yadav candidate, Kayas voting for Kayas. This is how your elite behaves. In Allahabad University, where I was a student, there was a professor of physics, head of the physics department of the university. He was the leader of the Kayas lobby in the university. And there was a professor of history. He was the leader of the Pandit lobby. Professors who are casteist. So this is a very, very backward society. I asked one lady, there was a TV debate in Delhi. She belonged to an OBC caste and she was a professor in the university. And she claimed, she said, I am above caste. You see, in my family, many family members have intermarried with other castes. I said, just tell me one thing. If your daughter would like to marry a Dalit, will you agree? She said, no, that I cannot agree. So I said, this is all nonsense. Full of casteism. You believe in superstitions. 90% people in this country believe in astrology, which is pure nonsense. Superstition, humbug. But 90%, I think most of you sitting here would believe in astrology, which shows how backward you are. It's pure superstition. I mean, just apply a little common sense. What is the connection between the movement of stars and planets and your lives? There is no connection. But yet, most people believe in it. And therefore, this struggle which is going on in this country is the struggle, feudalism, the feudal ideas. All patriotic people who are modern-minded must attack casteism, communalism, so that we help our country get over this transition period. Because remember, as long as you are backward, you will remain poor. And nobody respects the poor. Your country is a poor country. 80% people living in India are poor. And therefore your country is a poor country. And nobody respects the poor. Poor people are kicked around, they are humiliated, they are insulted. And Westerners look down upon you, they humiliate you, they insult you. They will not say it on your face, they are very sophisticated. But they don't respect you. And you will never be respected as long as you are poor. At one time, China and Japan were poor countries. Today they are highly industrialized. They are prosperous countries and therefore they are respected. Whereas you are not. You have a population of 1,200 million people. You are denied a permanent seat in the UN Security Council. Whereas England with only 60 million people, France with only 60 million people, have a permanent seat in the UN Security Council. You are 20 times larger in population, 20 times larger in land area, but you are not permitted to have a permanent seat in the UN Security Council. Why? Because you are poor, you are kicked around, you are insulted, humiliated. And that is the way of the world. It's very unfortunate. But this is how the world behaves. And therefore, if you want to be respected in the world community, you must help your country become a modern, powerful, industrial state. And that is only possible if scientific ideas are spread to every nook and corner of this country. By science, I don't mean just physics, chemistry, or biology. And by being modern, I don't mean wearing a nice coat or a nice skirt or a nice sari. Being modern means having a modern mind, which means a rational mind, a logical mind, a questioning mind. Unless our masses have this kind of mind, a modern scientific mind, our country will remain poor, backward, and be insulted, kicked around, humiliated. And therefore, it is the duty of every patriotic people, including the media, to help our country get over this transition period and make India a highly industrialized, prosperous country in which everybody gets a decent life, which means proper employment, proper incomes, proper health care, proper education for the children, etc. Now, this being the historical situation, we must immediately understand what is the meaning of morality. Whatever helps our country move forward into the modern age and makes our country prosperous, that is moral. And whatever blocks our progress, keeps us backward, keeps us casteist, that is immoral. And that is how I look at it. Unfortunately, much of the media is highly commercialized. They only care for money. You know what is the meaning of TRP rating and all. So therefore they show lives of film stars. Kareena Kapoor is having an affair with somebody. That is a great issue. Or Aishwarya Bachchan is going to have she's pregnant. That is a great issue. Not poverty, not unemployment, not price rise, not farmers' suicide, not child malnutrition. Half of your children suffer from malnutrition. This is the world record. Even the poorest countries of Africa, the sub-Saharan African countries of Somalia and Ethiopia, have only 33% child malnutrition. In India, child malnutrition is almost 50%. Every second child in India does not have enough to eat. These are the real issues before the country. But what does media often project? That the real issues are whether some film star is having an affair, when a certain film star is pregnant, whether Sachin Tendulkar has scored a century. How does it matter whether India beats Pakistan or Pakistan beats India in a cricket match? Supposing India beats Pakistan in a cricket match, does it reduce our poverty? Does it reduce our unemployment? See, the test of everything is just one simple test. Is the standard of living of the masses rising or not? Unfortunately, the media, by projecting non-issues as the real issues and sidelining the real issues, which are economic issues, is it not befooling the Indian people? Trying to tell the people that the real issues are not unemployment, not price rise, not poverty. Real issues is whether India has beaten Pakistan in a cricket match. Real issue is whether this film star is having an affair with somebody. These are the real issues. Are you not deceiving the Indian people? Befooling the Indian just because you want profits, which comes from high TRP rating? Because it is true, unfortunately, 90% of the people of this country are fools, as I have said repeatedly, which is proved by the fact 90% of you people vote on the basis of caste and religion and believe in superstition, etc. I'm very sad to say so, but this is true. 90% of people, including educated people, are fools, full of rubbish in their heads instead of brains. So therefore, now the time has come that these things must be realized, and the media must realize its responsibility. I don't say all the media is irresponsible. There are many media people who are responsible. I have praised Mr. P. Sainath, who is one of the greatest journalists India has ever known, or perhaps the world has ever known. He was the one who highlighted farmers' suicides and other agricultural problems. Many of the media people have exposed corruption, which is so rampant in the country. These are good things which the media has done. But the bad things are much more than the good things which the media has done. And that is why I have often spoken out against them. Media people have reacted very strongly against what I have said by saying that Justice Katju wants to crush media freedom. He wants to gag the media or muzzle the media. That is not so. In fact, I have been perhaps the greatest fighter for media freedom, as all of you would be knowing. I need not mention the instances. But at the same time, I have always emphasized that along with media freedom comes media responsibility. You owe a responsibility to the Indian people. You have to serve the Indian people, because Indian people are facing great hardships, terrible economic problems of poverty and unemployment, health care. People don't get medicine. The poor people can't buy the medicines because they're too expensive. They can't go to good doctors because doctors are too expensive. Education is in shambles. Prices are skyrocketing. Unemployment is massive. These are the real issues. And Of course, showing a little bit of entertainment is all right, but not that 90% of your coverage is entertainment, losing your sense of proportion and priorities. When 90% of your coverage is dealing with film stars, cricket, it is all opium of the masses, showing cricket as if the real issue is whether India has beaten some country in a cricket match. You are deceiving the Indian people. And therefore, the time has come when serious discussion must be done about the role of media, about there's nothing wrong in earning money. But at the same time, you have to also act responsibly. You can't say that I must earn money even if the country goes to hell. This cannot be accepted. You earn money, the media is in the hand of businessmen, there's nothing wrong in earning money, but it must be coupled with responsibility. Thank you.